Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, the 15th of May, 2024, and I am again slacking on the videos. I'm not slacking. I've been very busy, and nonstop. And even today, like I'm setting aside time to do this video because I did tell Jaron I would. Well, yeah, because I wanted it. I wanted the video between him and Zachary Hubbard, of course, and because I showed a small clip of it on my last video, or my second last video, and then even after that, he was trolling people from Flat Earth even more on multiple different social forums and saying, "Where's the video? Where's the video? I looked bad on just like 30 minutes of a 3-hour video." And come on. So let's see the video. Let's see the video, Zach and Jen. And Jaren's hilarious. So I'm going to share from what he shared on his page with luckily having commentary from him in the process. So I'll see if this was a day or two ago. But I was talking
disability
on Telegram, and he had said that he had watched a bit of my video, probably because of like me, talking about him and Zach, and yeah, he appreciated the fact that I have his back, obviously, and I do. The guy's a freaking genius, and he's getting not trolled because he doesn't care about any of like you have people like Zachary Hubbard. Anyway, this is a video that was done in either 2016 or 2017. It's over 2 hours long. Actually, it's almost 3 hours long, and it's regarding the possible shape of the Earth. So again, this is years ago. Jaron obviously has his shit wired tight more now than he did even back then. But even back then, this is so impressive. I'm gonna watch most of it with you. I just watched the first little bit, and yeah, just so I can be genuine with my responses. So here we go.
This to anyone who's just done a shred of Flat Earth research.
Everyone first. There we go. And then press.
Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jaron from Jaronism back with another video for you today. We're going to do a little throwback edition. We're going way back to 2017, believe it or not, for an interview I had with old Zachary, who I used to halfway kind of like. I used to like his work, and I actually am the one who got him Wednesday night show on TFR. But that's besides the point. Around 2017, the guy went all anti-Flat Earth, okay, and was then and is now one of the most unresearched, unknowledgeable globe proponents on YouTube. He sounds so dumb, so ridiculous, which is obvious anyone who's just done a shred of Flat Earth research. So fast forward to the other day. I'm driving home from an auction, listening to Austin Thompson from the Melodome being interviewed on a podcast. I don't remember what the podcast was. Interview, it's going well. And all of a sudden, the interview has to stop because Zachary K. Hubbard is in the chat trolling Flat Earth, saying that it's a psyop, saying Dave Weiss is a shill, all this nonsense. And it's the same stuff he was saying 8 years ago. So it just pissed me off. After he'd interrupted 3-4 times in this podcast I'm trying to listen to, I remember, I've had that video of him from 7 years ago. He sounds ridiculous. In that video, he's telling me he's the top of his class, that he's very well researched, followed by science says that the North Star is the North Star because of its distance away from the Earth. It's so far away from the Earth. I'm like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. And get this. Just the other day, he doubled down on that again. 8 years later, 7 years later, the guy can't get it right.
Point this 4-minute segment up like a 3-hour interview. I got it wrong. I was wrong about the distance. Well, I wasn't all the way wrong, but he's asking me about why the North Star.
I'm never wrong.
Move.
I'm never wrong.
Zachary,
I'm
why
Zach
don't you
Hubbard.
try having just a tiny bit of humility here and think about this. I've been telling you for 8 years that you're wrong.
You don't want to be nice to flat earthers.
You're dead wrong. The distance has nothing to do with it. Zero. You couldn't be more wrong. You're the most unresearched, unknowledgeable globe Earth proponent that there's ever been on YouTube. And you're so stupid you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till you hear this podcast. Anyway, he wanted the whole thing posted. We're going to get to some of that.
The irony is like with Zach, I tried for a while. Like I've even called in this show not to say anything flat Earth related, but just to like assist with some gematria stuff, with some numbers and stuff like that I've come up with. Repeatedly, I've given him solid information, even about Jean Pelletier, the chief of police in Las Vegas, and in Maui, or sorry, in Lahaina, and so many other things. And then even with the connection with the astronauts coming into Canada in Ottawa to meet with Pierre Elliott Trudeau on the 2nd of December of 1969, and this was all staged and planned with the 201 in that as well, because he's writing a book about 201. I'm like, the month of December could be seen as the 10th month in certain groups. The term or the word deck, it's associated with the number 10, decathlon, decagon, all these things, anyways, with the correlation with the number 10, and so 10/2, that's where you get it. I've said things like that, and then discussing the sun's path through the zodiacal belt, and very polite, and again, this guy has been nothing but rude and dismissive to people that are considered to be flat earthers or true earthers. And so, fine. So now we're just going to embarrass you. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's not my problem. That's yours. You've had 8 years at least to talk to people like Jaron, and then listening to Austin Whitsitt, the fucking nerve and the audacity for you to even think that you have even 1/10 of the intellect as any of these people, Austin Whitsitt or Jaron. And I'm gonna, it just it shows your ego and narcissism is very significant. And you say that flat earthers are the ones that have the ego and pushing stuff like are you fucking kidding me? We're the minority. Again, dumbass. You guys are the ones that have been the bullies because of appealing to the majority and the pseudoscience. And so, and you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, Zach. So if you're listening to this, I've tried to be nice. You're not nice to us. You're a troll. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And maybe you should be canceled. So maybe your Patreon with $30,000, maybe get another fucking job because you don't know what you're talking about. And if you're a truther now, you don't want to just talk about numbers. You're like, maybe you'd have to stay in your lane.
But if he just
because now he just looks like a dummy in front of so many different truthers that are going to be making it even bigger now within the next year, because Austin was on InfoWars and on other major platforms, Jaron as well. And there are people within that group, people in the flat earth community or people in the true earth community that, are making it in the mainstream media and more, and in the academic and in the government fields as well, more and more. And so again, after this year, Joe Rogan's going to have to tell Zach that the earth is flat and that we didn't go to the moon because this fucking idiot's not looking at his own research. He's just looking at mainstream media.
Gone to the description of my video. He could have figured out why I made the video. He has a conniption about, I don't know why I didn't posted this 7 years later.
You are.
Go read the description. It's right there.
You want to read this video out?
We'll read it together.
You did so fucking well.
Let's read it together. It says, May 7th here. I was trying to listen to a podcast with Austin from the Melodome as the guest. And during the podcast, Spazoid, Gematria, Number Cruncher, Zachary K. Hubbard showed up in the chat to talk shit about Dave Weiss and Flat Earth. The guy is annoying, and as I have shown, lies about his sports picks. Obviously, if you could correctly guess just 6 out of 10 sports matchups, you'd be rich. Bet $1,000 per day on 10 games, win 6, lose 4, net $2K a day, $14K a week, and be making $750,000 a year. He goes 16-0, it seems, every week in the NFL using Gematria. And for some reason, he doesn't make enough money betting sports, so he also makes about $30,000 a month on Patreon. Anyway, he always talks shit about Flat Earth, and yet he is one of the most unknowable globe believers on YouTube. He sounds so dumb when he says things like he's so sure of himself and is actually partially retarded. So as he talks shit about Dave, it reminded me of the time he came on my show to school me about the globe. Enjoy the stupidity. That's what I wrote. If you would have gone there, you could see why I posted the video 7 years later, and it's because you're over in Flat Earth chats trolling. Do you understand? Troll behavior.
Trolling,
loser
not being
behavior.
nice, not just.
And so I posted that video of you 7 years ago because it needs to remind people that you don't have a clue, that you're clueless about this subject. Stay in your lane, number boy. Let the big boys handle this over here. You stay over there and play 33 and 66, okay? But no, instead he's got to show up in chats and troll and troll and troll. And then you'll hear him in this video right now say that the reason he doesn't like Flat Earth is because they come over to his chat and troll and tell him they get mad at you if you don't believe in Flat Earth. So what's the difference? You go there and get mad because they do. But it's baffling behavior.
He's more rude.
Baffling junior high nonsense behavior. But again, stay out of people's chats and these things won't happen. Now I'm going to post the entire 3 hours, starting with these choice words that he had for us Flat Earthers. Guys, it's hard to like this guy now. Let's listen to what he's got to say.
Flat Earth is a low IQ movement. And that's why flat earthers get mad because I say that, but it's true. I mean, you just look at the flat earth community, not very sharp tools. So yeah, I'm never going to be nice to the flat earth community because it needs to go. Like I say what I say because you guys really need to pull your head out of your ass and understand it's total bullshit.
Exactly.
No, you guys, flat Earth is a total psyop. Yeah, I know. I've said some mean things about flat earthers, and I don't know if I take any of it back. I know I've said about 1,000 times they all need to be thrown in a wood chipper, and I think that's also probably still true. I don't know if I've
So Zachary Hubbard has also said that flat earthers, so people that don't believe that the Earth is a globe, that we need to be in a wood chipper, that we should be in a wood chipper. Is this not some kind of a threat? You know, because he's naming people like Jaron and Austin and stuff like that, and flat earthers specifically. Sorry, my dogs are barking a little bit. And so is that not a threat? I'm wondering if the cops should be looking into this guy. He wants us to be in wood chippers. He's saying that on live TV too. So imagine what this guy says behind closed doors. Red fucking flags.
Rechange that opinion. I've been saying it since 2017. I'd say it's probably still true. If we could just throw all the flat earthers in a wood chipper, I think the Earth would be a better place.
Yeah. So
okay, it makes sense.
Don't tell the
Now I
cops on
get
this
why
guy,
I thought
please.
you were from the
local
genocidal
area.
thought.
He's clearly
Makes sense
fucking
now, right? As you can see, the guy is as pleasant as a wet fart on a public bus. He's just so unknowledgeable, so dumb, and he pretends he's got some sort of intellectual superiority over flat earthers. It's hilarious. You're about to see 3 hours of it. But first, let's let him talk about why he's upset or whatever that I posted that video, or why he doesn't understand it if he just would have read the damn description. Here's Zachary K. Hubbard.
All right. So you guys might know the flat earther Jaronism, right? He's actually, you know, I'm not crazy about Jaronism, but he did help me get that show on TFR that we had for all these years until the network essentially just went under. But something, I can't remember what year it was. The most annoying thing that Jaronism, I mean, okay, you see how Jaronism just uploaded this video yesterday? It says, well-researched tribe troll Zachary Hubbard, top of his class, knows Earth is a globe. Schools me. Okay, now I'll say well played because this is a good, he uploaded this video like 5 different times over the last 8 years, because I'm pretty sure this is from 2016, if I'm not mistaken. But let me explain to you what happened that day, and realize this is a 4-minute and some second soundbite of a 3-hour interview. So it's like, hey, Jaron, he also took down the whole thing, but then only kept this audio clip.
Hey, Zachary, as you know, TFR went under, so none of my raw episodes are up anymore. Okay? This was before YouTube had live streaming. So I had a little clip that was on YouTube, and I just reused that clip. You want the 3 hours? I went and found it for you. I hope you're happy. Everyone's going to get to listen now. Can you please calm your little tits?
He got rid of the rest of it because he looked like a dumbass through the whole thing, except for in this part. This is the part where he wins screwed up. But the thing is, like, really just re-uploading this all these years later, again, it's so pathetic. What this represents is what's wrong with the world. So here's what I want to say about just Jaronism uploading this. By the way, let me set up.
Let me
now he starts to go into exactly what happened on this day. I don't know if it's that great of a memory, but pay attention to what he says the podcast is about. He says it's me and my wife grilling him and asking him 50 questions, and we want to know how the North Star and how everything works on the globe Earth. You tell me who's lying, whether or not that's what this podcast is. The podcast is simple. It's me saying, you have not researched this. Shut up.
So if you guys remember, like back in, well, just like since forever, I've always worked on the grind all around the clock. But I remember that the day he called me up, it was like a grindier day than normal.
Grindier day than
the
grind of
7
normal
videos
times.
that day at least.
That specific particular day, 6-7 years ago, I was the only time that I haven't been on top of my game. Come on.
Do a lot of like videos that were between 15 and 30 minutes. And I just get them all out in a day rather than do live streams. Because I think that was before YouTube had live streaming. But
he loves his voice. That's why he does this.
Anyway, he calls me up at the end of the day. He's like, hey, want to do an interview in like 30 minutes, an hour? He said, I just want to have a friendly conversation about why you won't get on board with Flat Earth. And I said, well, I guess. And he goes, okay, yeah, don't do any research. He says it's going to be a laid-back conversation. It's like getting the gist of why you won't get on board with Flat Earth. So anyway, then the interview starts later that night, and it's already pretty late in the day. But him and his wife, if you know Jaronism, he also has his wife. They're just sitting there grilling me, like trying to quiz me on every last thing about the Earth and space. And so I'm like answering like 50 questions. Here we are at question 51. I'm just getting annoyed at this point because I'm like, okay, like is this guy just a troll? I mean, he told me not to study or anything because we're just going to have a relaxed conversation about why I won't get into flat earth. But now here I am on the air. I think I was on his TFR episode, and he's just quiz. Like, do you know this? Do you know this? Do you know this? And I was answering all the questions in relation why all the other stars spin around us, but the North Star stays relatively in the same spot. And I was answering to him, and I said, it has to do with the distance and how great the distance is away. That is part of it. The distance does matter, but the main thing is where its position is in relation to our tilt and orbit.
8 fucking years of this guy just saying blatantly wrong, false shit that nobody believes, except for him in his magical world of being top of the class. I think you were the only one in your class, to be honest with you.
At least so we're told in the science world. But anyway, he loves to play this clip because I answered it wrong. And it's just like, I mean, again, I haven't seen him upload this for like 4 years, but I noticed today I have all these people leaving comments like, oh, Jaronism owned you in the debate. And I was like, what the hell are all these comments today? Jaronism owned me in the debate. I haven't like talked to this guy since 2016. But then I see that, okay, he uploaded the same clip from back then. Jaronism, listen. That same conversation I was making to you the point back then about flat earth, first of all, is arguing about the shape of the earth rather than pointing out what's going on earth, who's running the show.
That's not true.
Jaronism, send the other 3 hours of our debate and let's see how you looked in the other 3 hours, besides the 4 minutes where I screwed up.
Ask and you shall receive.
Hold your horses. It's coming right up. But what's hilarious is that you still don't realize how dumb you are. It's hilarious. Wait till you see how much stuff you got wrong. You think you got one thing wrong? Oh, boy.
Again, it's just, and this is why I don't respect the flat earth community either, because I remember how it was when it came here. It's just a bunch of little trolls attacking you in your comments because you didn't agree that the earth was flat. I wasn't even mean to flat earthers at first, but it's just getting trolled by like a pack of literal, like, again, I don't want to say short bus riders. I really feel like
So time out.
I don't want to say it.
Are
I'll just
not
say it.
happy with flat earthers who attack you in your comments and chat because you don't believe in the flat earth. So then you're so upset that you go do the exact same thing 7 and 8 years later. Now you're in a podcast talking about flat earth and you're trolling them from the chat. You have problems, dude. Just stay in your lane. Do your videos. Mind your business.
So, yeah, I don't want to get in a debate about the shape of the earth because it's stupid. It's pointless. Like, flat earthers are a religion. They don't need any evidence. Again, you ask them a simple question. How can the sun rise due east no matter where you are in the world and set due west no matter where you are in the world if it's your flat earth map with a sky lamp going above? I mean, if it was like that, then depending on where you were in the world, the sun would be rising in different directions, setting in different directions. It wouldn't do east rise, due west set. I mean, that just wouldn't happen on a flat earth. And again, there's a million things that don't make any sense about the flat earth model. That's why it's embarrassing that people for it.
What's embarrassing is you don't even realize how wrong you are. You just, and you won't admit it, but you can just go back and listen to what you said. You clearly think that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west at 90 and 70 every day for everyone.
Yeah.
That's what you believe, isn't it? Of course, you're going to be like, no, I don't believe that. I'm top of my class. I know everything. Dipshit. It's called the equinox. It happens 2 days a year. And it's not even the same day for everyone on Earth. And it doesn't even count if you're cold. So wake up. It's explained just fine in the flat Earth model. You wouldn't know that because you don't pay attention to anybody else but your own self.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get that? You have to actually listen to other people. And I don't mean teachers and authority figures who I thought you'd be against, but obviously not when it comes to telling you live on a magical spinning ball.
Yeah.
And it's a sign of low IQ and lack of understanding and lack of intelligence. And yeah, I might have been wrong in this moment, but you know what else? When I was wrong, did I not the very next day put out a video showing where I was wrong and explaining what I should have said?
Well, then you're even more retarded than I thought. How could you have put out a video saying where you got it wrong, yet you're still today saying that the North Star has something to do with the distance? I'll tell you again, it doesn't matter if it's 1 light year or 17 quadrillion light years. It wouldn't make a difference. The distance has nothing to do with it. You gonna ever admit that, or are you just gonna continue going on with your unresearched bullshit?
So to bring this up all these years later, Jaronism, let's have a conversation. Your work does what for the world? Proves what about the world? Shows what about the world? What does your work do? Literally. What does Flat Earth do besides make a group of people who are looking in? See, that's the thing that Flat Earth does that people don't get it. It discredits you from humanity because most people are not dumb enough to think the Earth's flat. Now, a lot of these indoctrinated people who don't question anything, they're not stupid, though. but they know that somebody who comes at them and tells them the Earth's flat, they're not going to listen to anything they have to say. Earth's flat? Are you a joke? Are you auditioning for Batman? Again, until you can explain how everywhere on Earth the sun rises due east and sets due west, which is a fact.
Not a fact. And you know what? I don't think you could be more wrong if you tried. Somebody couldn't be doing an act and be more
that's
wrong.
actually true.
Do you understand that? Like, I'm starting to feel bad for you. I think you have a mental disability. And so, no, I don't want to debate you. I don't want to tell you about what my work done. You know what's my work's done? My work's allowed people to be smarter. Mm-hmm. Not one person that listens to me would ever make the stupid mistakes you've made repeatedly over the last 8 years. You should be listening to me instead of playing with numbers.
Mm-hmm. Stop saying the Earth is flat, because you can't ever figure out on your flat Earth model how that's even possible. You guys have to be like, well, maybe it's like the Truman Show and some. I mean, you really think that somebody built a big man-made dome over us? We are being controlled.
No one said man-made dome.
But they didn't.
No one said man-made dome.
Build a big dome over us. Again, coming up with these crazy explanations for why you can't see the, the same stars in the northern and southern hemisphere. Why? Why are you trying to come up with crazy explanations to explain away things that don't make sense on a flat Earth map?
Yeah, you're right. It's too far is crazy.
Well-researched tribe troll Zachary Hubbard, top of his class, knows Earth is a globe. Schools me. Yeah, get the rest of the 3 hours in the debate, and people will see that that was definitely a schooling. Not right there. Yeah, that was definitely my low light and my mistake. But again, you're the guy who got rid of the full video and only kept up that clip. So I think we know what that says about the 3 hour discussion.
Yeah, you know exactly what it says. It says that TFR is no longer in business. Before that, all of our audios were up on TFR for the 8 years between now and the interview. It's been up the whole time. What do you mean I took it down? No, I took a clip and put that on YouTube. Do you need to be talked through everything every second of the day? Do you have like a caretaker? I'm very confused how you can be this dumb. Now, guys, if you want to go watch this video, he's had much more things to say about Flat Earth, much more things to say about me. We don't need to hear it right here. I don't need to debate the guy on what my work has done versus his work has done. Some people won some bets, I guess, or something. Anyway, stay in your lane, play with numbers, have fun with that, because I guess that's the only thing you can figure out. You must need to be handheld and walked through every aspect of your life. You're like an elderly man. You can't even get anything right. Let's listen to this 3 hour podcast. I did not edit any words. I did cut the commercials so that they're a little bit shorter. But every time you hear us get cut off, it's because TFR, and ask Zach, he'll tell you about it. TFR, sometimes you wouldn't hear the commercial coming in. It would just cut you off and you'd hear music all of a sudden. So that's what happened. And here's the podcast, 3 hours or 2 hours and 45 minutes or whatever it is. Jaren's Monday Night Raw, me, Zach Hubbard. Zach, get your head out of your ass. Just mind your business. Stay in your lane. You do your thing. We'll do our thing. You don't need to troll because you're mad at flat earthers for trolling you. It's just gay.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Well, I haven't seen this. This is where I left off, just so I can watch this with you.
Astronauts to the moon.
Ten, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show. And we're in a snow globe, and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. You are tuned into your protection from deception right here on truthfrequencyradio.com. It's Monday, January 23rd, 2017. It's 6 o'clock Pacific time, which means it's time for TFR's #1 show on Monday nights between 6 and 9 p.m. Pacific, 9 and midnight Eastern. And that show is Jaren's Monday Night Raw, and it starts now. I'm your host, Sharon. And to my right, because she's always right, the only reason anyone listens to this show. In fact, last week, I think our listener numbers came back at 2, and that was because Cathexis had his radio on and your computer was left on. So glad you're back. She is my wife. She is my partner in crime. Missa, amazing. Missa, what it is?
Great. Sorry, that's a weird question.
Curveball at you.
Thank you.
How are you?
Do people really listen just for me? Because that's really nice.
That's what they all say, yes. They were all very frustrated that you weren't here last week. So.
Because I am always right, just not always in the right time.
Right, it'll eventually be right.
Yeah. I don't mean to be. It's just one of those things.
Oh, it's got to be tough being here.
No, I'm actually always wrong. I always have the wrong timing. I guess kind of goes with what I said before. I always say things in the very wrong timing.
That is true.
I always get jokes late. That's always a good one, too. I was laughing about 4 seconds after the punchline after everybody else.
Or making fun of people that cried after Hillary wasn't elected and then saying that in front of my dad's wife, who certainly cried when Hillary didn't win.
If it's rude, it's true. So you don't have to get used to it.
That's true. You excited about the show tonight?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Me too. Everybody, we've got a special guest. Hopefully he's on the line. He has his own show on TFR on Wednesday nights. I believe at the same time, might be 6 or 7. We'll find out here in a second. And that man is the Mr. King of Gematria himself, Zachary K. Hubbard. Zach, you there?
I'm here if you can hear me.
I can hear you perfectly. Remind me what time your show is on Wednesday, since I just butchered that whole intro.
No, you didn't butcher it, because that's right. When I started the show, it was 7 to 9, and then Chris Gio was generous to give me another hour, so it's 6 to 9 every Wednesday.
Beautiful. Yeah, so check that show out. Zachary, tell us just real quick, in case anybody doesn't know you, your YouTube channel and how long you've been doing that for, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so YouTube channel is my name. It's Zachary Hubbard, and if you'd rather subscribe to my backup channel where there's not as many comments, I might be more likely to read your comment on my backup channel. It's Free to Find Truth, all as one word. Free to Find Truth. Two's T-O. And for how long I've been doing it, the first video that I uploaded to YouTube that stayed on YouTube and wasn't deleted right away for some copyright strike or something was in the middle of August 2014. But I'd been trying to upload my first video for months before that, and I didn't understand the way how you were supposed to make a YouTube video without it getting deleted. So anyway, I've been doing this gematria work since October 2013, well, on a blog, and yeah, from then up to the present.
All right, awesome. And just so everybody knows what's going on, Zachary's been on our show before, and we've had a good working relationship, I would say, in the truth movement. We've gone back and forth a few times on Skype, discussing Zach's opinion of the flat Earth, call it a movement, call it an awakening, whatever you want to call it. And recently, more than in the past, Zach started to speak out a little bit more direct about the flat Earth and his disagreement with it and his opinion of it. And the last week has been, he probably put out a good 5 or 6 videos in regards to the flat Earth. At which point I was, trying to decide, do I want to make a video to answer your questions? How do I do this? And I just said, you know what? Let me just message him and see if he wants to join us on the show. You answered right back, said yes, so we'll do it the easy way and get it done this way. So the way what we're going to do is we're going to just have a conversation. It's not like a structured debate or anything, but I am going to kind of start out with just a quick 5 minutes and then give Zach 5 minutes to answer. And from there, we're just going to have a conversation. So if anybody in the chat has a question for either of us, you can go ahead and put it in. I don't think I'm going to open up the phone lines. If Zach wants to stay with us the entire 3 hours, we will do that. If he wants to leave early, he may do that. But we'll kind of play it by ear. So just so you know, Zach, my goal is obviously tonight not to convert you. It's not to convince you of anything, because I firmly believe that the truth must be realized. It can never be told to somebody. They're going to fight it no matter what. And I find it awfully odd anyway if you believe me after just hearing me talk and not doing your own research. So my hope is that you kind of see at the end of this that your research, as far as the flat Earth goes, is kind of horrendous or non-existent. So starting off, and like I said, give me 5 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes to respond. But let me start with something we both agree on, and that's the problem with belief. And I was stuck in a world of belief when I was growing up. We've talked about this before, same with you. My wife and I quit our jobs. We decided to work from home and to really research what it was that we believed. What exactly, was our faith at the time. And we did, and we saw right away that beliefs are the absolute worst way to operate your life. It's the worst way to approach things because basically you get a distorted worldview. You've got a false worldview. But what I don't appreciate, or what bothered me the most, is basically in your videos, I'm starting to notice a straw man, which is just an argument that you're putting up saying that flat earthers believe X, Y, Z. And then you take it a step further even and say, well, the flat earth is impossible because I just debunked the straw man I built. And so here's where I think you're wrong and where my problem with you starts. When you claim that flat earthers have a belief, okay, I can't disagree with you on that because I'm not them. And I do see some of the same thing. I see people that are just believing in the flat earth, either by trust researchers or not doing the research themselves. They just have this belief. And so I can't disagree with you there. But that's not true when it comes to me. And I will mention again, and this is a problem, that I highly doubt that you've watched any of my videos. Now, I don't mean all of them. I understand it would be impossible to watch them all. I haven't watched all your videos. But I would doubt you've even watched 5. Now, I'm just going to, you can answer that. But in saying that, you have to understand that I've done a ton of research on the flat earth. And when I do that research and then I make videos about it, then people who are watching my videos are seeing the way I went about it, seeing how I came up with the conclusion I did, so that they now have either a belief or an understanding of that particular element of flat earth. So what you're doing is you're coming in 2 years after, not doing any research on the subject. In fact, you posted a video from Cool Hard Logic today. There's no way you've ever watched that guy's videos. They have nothing to do with anything you're researching. So basically, you clearly went to YouTube, searched for a flat earth debunking video, took that man's information, and posted on your channel as truth, simply because it backed your preconceived notions. The one thing that you're against, the one thing that you say we shouldn't do, people shouldn't have a belief. Well, you, sir, have a belief that the earth is a ball. And so rather than listen to my videos where I'm explaining things about the flat earth, you'd rather just discount that, say that can't be true, it's got to be a psyop. So now let me go believe somebody else that I haven't done any background checking on or anything. I'll just go take this guy's video, sounds good to me, and put it out. So the problem with that is, like I said, when you see people commenting on your videos, when you see people commenting on, say, or giving you thumbs down. I saw today you said, all these people have thumbs down my videos. And what I don't think you understand is that you also claim that you asked questions in your video that weren't answered, but you've never watched any of my videos. So should I have to make a video about a subject and then go around and find out if anybody else has that question and then answer the question for them? Or should I just be under the assumption that if somebody has an interest in this subject, that they might have seen my videos? And I think if you put yourself in the other shoe, if you think about this happening in the reverse, that somebody comes along and just starts making videos about gematria, saying it's nonsense, saying it doesn't have any resemblance to truth, and then when you try and say something to them, they just say, no, I'm not going to believe it. I believe what I already believe. I'm not going to look into it because it's a psyop. But again, if you had done the research that all these people have, you have to remember that the people that are commenting on your videos have seen my video. They've heard Cathexis talk. They've listened to the 3-hour weekly show we do called Glowbusters. They've seen the videos from Phuket Word or P-Brain or The Morgile, Dr. Zach, Rob Skiba, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, Eric Dubay, on TV, Crow 777. Crow 777 is somebody who's got a telescope that's been looking in the sky for years, who has come to the same conclusions that we have. Or you can talk about Mark Sargent and the overwhelming amount of subject matter experts, from military to plane airline pilots to a airline traffic controller, even a pilot school teacher. I mean, you name it. We've had people from every walk of life come forward to back up exactly what we're saying. So that's basically, my opening is just, I hope you understand what is going on here, what it looks like to us, that if anybody is not doing the research and is basing everything on their belief, it would be you. If, for instance, you told me on my last time you were on the show, you said that you were very skeptical of what they tell us in regards to the distance of the sun. Now, do you think somebody has been to the moon? Let me just ask you that.
I think the moon landing, as it has been presented, I've talked about the moon landing a lot. It's completely by the numbers. It's exactly what my research is about. But here's what I'll say about the moon landing. Every Wednesday I have a show, and there's a very intelligent man who calls in, and I think most people would agree with at least 85% of what he's saying. But he is convinced that we definitely went to the moon, and he expresses this sometimes when he calls into my show. And I just say to him, well, I can't argue about it because I have no idea. But here's what I would say. If we really did go to the moon, if this really happened, what we've seen with Neil Armstrong and the video and all that, that's all bogus. Here's the possible scenario, because I'm open to all circumstances. Like I even admitted the other day, I said, the earth could be flat. If the earth's flat, it'll be proven. The truth always reveals itself.
I agree.
But this is what I said. I said, Neil, all right, here's the thing to think about. If we really went to the moon, perhaps we went there, and the problem is there's no way to transmit back to Earth what's really going on, but they want to show the people that they've gone to the moon, so now they're recreating this fictional retelling. Or it's entirely possible that they cannot get outside of our Earth's atmosphere, but they want to have the power and capability to. Because we see how they use space. They use it as a military weapon. There's all these. When I was in high school in the 90s, they were showing us videos how World War III would be fought in space. We were watching stuff like that in our current events class. And what's interesting, knowing gematria is space equals 44, like military, like Armstrong, like Cancer. The moon landing was in the time of Cancer. July 20th, 1969, the astrological sign for Cancer, 69. So, look, I don't know that we would to the moon. It wouldn't surprise me if we didn't at all, but I don't know. I can't claim to know, and I could come up with a reason why they would lie about it. I could come up with a reason why they would fake the video having really gone there. Doesn't that seem like a possible solution? Maybe they really can get up there, but they can't get the transmission back.
Okay. Well, pretty clearly that we haven't gone to the moon. There's no reason that you would go 48 years ago and never go back.
What if they still go up there and they don't tell us?
Okay, so that could be true. So you would then you just how am I trying to say this? So what about the Mars rover, the Curiosity? Do you think that there's
rover is 33, hoaxalicious?
Right. So you would agree that there's no rover on Mars?
Yeah, for everybody, if you haven't seen my video on July 4th and that rover landing or that probe of Jupiter, oh my God, you have to watch that video. It is sick.
Okay, so we're basically on the same page here in regards to NASA being a propaganda mouthpiece of the government. They're basically stealing money. They're telling us that they've got a rover, a remote control laser shooting, car. It's about the size of a car on Mars, which is, anywhere from 30 million to, 70 million miles away. And we know that that's not true, right? These are the kind of lies that we're being told. So here's my problem, Zach, for this. If you realize that we have not gone to the moon, okay, if you come to that conclusion just based off the videos are clearly, fake, the way that they talk about it now and not being able to shield from the radiation of the Van Allen belts, that there's a lot of things that they're letting out that basically, they had the computer with the memory of an Etch-a-Sketch, basically a Game Boy, the original Nintendo Game Boy.
Can I jump in real quick? One quick question.
Sure.
All this stuff that they put out, see, this is the thing. We've been lied to so much. It's like, well, what if they're just leaking that we can't get outside this Van Allen radiation belt? What if they really can? What if they just put that info out there? But I agree. You start looking at all the facts and all the information we've been given, things don't add up.
Okay.
Nothing adds up.
Here's my point as far as that goes, is once you realize that they're capable of that kind of lie, telling us that they went 6 times and landed on the moon 248,000 miles away, and you realize that that's not true, then you have to start to think about the whole idea of space. and the idea of space travel, the idea of how far the moon is, how far the sun is, how big is Saturn, how big is Jupiter, what is the gravity like on each of those planets, what is the gravity like on the moon, how do we know how far the moon is? All these things get brought into question because, again, and I'll be the first one to admit, if we went to the moon, then I grant everything else. If you can get to the moon, then you know the distance of the sun, you know how gravity works, you know how big Jupiter is, you know how big Saturn is. But if you can't get to the moon, then all of a sudden everything gets pulled back. And you say, wait a second. So we didn't have the second picture of Earth until 2015 after Flat Earth came out. So from 1972, when they took the first one, Apollo 17, if that didn't take place, if there wasn't a picture of the moon, then all of a sudden you realize we didn't have a picture of the Earth until 2015, which that picture doesn't look real either, but let's just say that it was real. 2015 till they took a picture from some satellite out and who knows where. But all of a sudden you kind of start to realize that this almost seems like a giant deception. Why would you lie? Why is it so important to go to the moon? They say, oh, it's for the space race. Well, it's not like whoever got there and then now Russia's gone after. No one's gone back. Nobody cares. It was all a propaganda piece. I'm sure you're the first person that would understand propaganda and governments pretending that they're in some sort of war with each other. You want to keep people in fear. You want to keep people thinking that their life could end at any moment, so that they keep paying for the security of their government and the industrial military complex, the United States. We got to keep pumping the money into it so that these tanks and these airlines, they want all this money coming through. They want people scared. So once you realize that wasn't exactly as we were sold it, then you need to start looking at it saying, why else would they go to the moon? What was so important about going to the moon? Well, the important thing about going to the moon was looking back at the ball Earth. Okay. That's something that was ingrained in us, you, me, my wife, everyone, as a child, whether you realized it or not. Whether you saw it or not, the idea that people had gone to the moon and landed on the moon gave us an idea that people can live on a ball. It gave us the belief that, oh, okay, people went to the moon, landed right there on the face where I can see the Sea of Tranquility right there, and that's where they landed at Apollo 11. Therefore, people can live on spheres. There's spheres in the sky all the time. How come Jupiter and Saturn is a sphere? Why wouldn't the Earth be?
Let me ask you a question real quick. In terms of percentages, based on your research,
okay,
if you had to say, I'm % confident that the world is flat, and I'm % confident that the world is not a sphere, what are your percentages there?
Percent that it's flat, as in like the Gleason's map, or flat?
If that's the model that you prefer?
Well, when I say flat, I would mean that everything is on a level surface minus mountains and rivers and valleys.
Exactly. So what you're promoting on your channel, what your research shows.
I would say 90-10.
You would say 90-10?
I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anybody can know for sure what the shape of the Earth is, period, no matter how high military is. But I know that I just don't know. I don't think it's 100%. Do you?
No, I would say it's
100% not a ball. That's all I can say about that.
Right.
So then
that's what I was going to say. So it's not really 90-10 then. But I mean, I would say that it's 100% not a sphere.
Yeah.
That if you're talking about flat, well, it could be a realm. That's what Tesla said. Tesla said the Earth is not a planet, it's a realm. And that may be something that we would have a hard time discovering, because you're not going to be able to discover a realm. Basically saying that if you go east, you return west, but you can never really see where that demarcation happens, or exactly where the realm starts and ends. So I mean, that's where I don't want to say, oh, I'm 100% that it's flat and it's shaped like a circle, like the Gleason's map. I don't know that. I don't know if there's more land. I don't know any of that. But here's the problem.
You just know what it's not. I know it's not. There's nobody standing opposite of me upside down on a ball.
Correct.
There's no curvature. There's no curvature to be found.
There's no curvature.
There's none, zero. You can't find any curvature. So that
here's the thing, Zach. I mean,
is huge.
Do you think that you're spinning right now? You're in Seattle. So are you spinning 700 miles per hour?
Well, we're making one full rotation in a circle a day, is what we're told.
Okay, was what we're told. I'm asking not what we're told. That's not what this argument is about. We can't just sit here and talk about what are we told.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, do you believe that you are spinning 700 miles per hour, which is, yes, one rotation per day. In 24 hours, you'll be in the same spot you are now. Do you believe that?
So the model makes sense to me, honestly. I mean, at this day and age, with all that's been shown about the spherical model and the ability to predict, astrological phenomena, when certain alignments are going to occur, when there's going to be eclipses.
You're smart enough to understand a deception. So let's pretend that you go back 1,000 years and that people knew what the shape of the earth was and they were able to predict things. They could create another idea and still predict things. It doesn't mean they predicted them inside that model. So I'm just saying, do you believe yourself that you're spinning 700 miles per hour? Yeah. Because when you come out and make the videos that you're saying and calling people who are questioning the shape of the earth, then you better be answering this question with a yes. Do you believe?
So look, these models, they're based on spherical planets making orbit with the calculations we're given. The thing is, a lot of the information, the numbers, they're again and again, they're the numbers that come back in my research. And yes, Freemasonry has its hands all over the knowledge we're given in this world. We could be given completely manipulated numbers, but the same type of model could still be intact with the understandings we have.
Okay, but if you believe the Earth to be the size that they say, which is a sphere, 24,901 miles at the equator, then there is no debating the speed of the spin, because that's how fast you have to be going to get back to where you started in 24 hours. So,
sure, but I'm just saying a lot of the other. So yeah, it doesn't seem improbable to me that we could be rotating as a planet at 700 miles per hour in regards, because it's all relative. The planet's massive, so an object moving that big, it's
okay. I mean, because here's the kind of thing that research will show you is that, Einstein said there is no optical experiment that can prove the Earth to spin. Okay, that's an Einstein quote that he went to his grave. There was never a test that proved the Earth spins. Stephen Hawking said
there still is.
No, Stephen Hawking said many people think that Copernicus proved Ptolemy wrong, and that's absolutely incorrect. That it just was easier mathematically to consider the sun at rest rather than the Earth at rest. Julian Barber says in 350 years, it's still hard to say categorically whether the Earth moves. There is no experiment that has proven the Earth to spin.
What about a Foucault pendulum? They have it in almost every museum, and it shows the rotation of the Earth.
Doesn't show the rotation of the Earth. It shows that there is a force that's moving that Foucault pendulum. It could very well be the stars. That's why it's not used as proof. Yeah, or the sun and the moon. Anything.
Well, why does that seem more logical than the Earth actually moving?
Because no one's ever felt the Earth moving. So wouldn't you simply go towards what is moving, what we see moving could be causing that thing?
So look, let's talk about using ourselves as instruments of measurement. If you are in a ice bathtub and you are just freezing to death and you just want to get out of there, and you finally get out of that ice bathtub, but what you have to run into next is an industrial refrigerator. That industrial refrigerator is going to feel like you're in Hawaii. Okay. In your mind, you'll think that room is warm, and it might take you a little bit to realize, oh, this room's not that warm either, just because it feels so much warmer than when you were in the ice bucket. And that's the way so many things are for us as human beings. It's relative, and our body can mislead us many times from thinking that our refrigerator is warm to, have you seen the National Geographic show Brain Games? Have you guys seen that show?
Yeah, I actually like it.
So look at how easily our eyes can be deceived. One of the first episodes, it shows those two objects up on the screen. It looks like one's about a square, and it looks like the other one's a long, skinny rectangle, kind of like a bench you'd sit on at the park.
Right. What you do is get this fixed. Get a Zipper and change your life. ZYPPAH.com.
Welcome back, listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We're here with Zachary Hubbard talking Flat Earth, and let's get back into it. And we kind of got interrupted there because we got into a conversation, and I'm just going to finish real quick, and then you can have your 5 minutes. But we were talking about belief, And what I was going to say is the reason I got into this whole search was because I didn't want to have any beliefs anymore. I don't want to believe in things. I want to, research things for myself. I don't want to trust men in every aspect of my life. For 35 years, men have lied. They've distorted truth. They've corrupted things. They have their money and power hungry and wicked. So I don't want to trust men. I don't think it's a smart move. So I wanted to find out things for myself. So right away, you feel like you're on a flat earth, stationary earth. That's just your feeling that if you're going by just your senses, which you pointed out in brain games, things can be fooled. But let's just start from there. Then all of a sudden, there's things you have to add to it that are accepted scientific facts in the scientific community, in the general consensus of people in this world. And all of a sudden, I just came forward asking the questions of, where's the proof of that? Where's the proof of this? Where's the proof of that? And I found out within the first 6 months or so that there is proof that these things have been decided on a philosophical basis, not based on observations, not based on testing, not based on evidence. It is a mathematical construct. So there is mathematics that you can call that proof, but that's, even Einstein said before, every mathematician will explain to you that that's not how you prove things. You can't just write a math equation and prove it. I could say that, my wife owes me $2 million and the neighbor owes me $2 million. So 2 + 2 is 4 million. Somebody owes me $4 million. Well, the math is true there, but the reality of the not true. The math is true. The math is fine. The math works. 2 + 2 doesn't get me to make that up. So when you put numbers out and things away, it doesn't prove that they're out there. It proves that in your construct, you've made things a certain size and a certain distance. So the thing is, when you add it all together, yes, we're spinning at a certain speed. We're going around the sun 66,000 miles per hour. Okay, well, I'll go with that. Now you've got the galaxy our solar system is going around the galaxy at 480,000 miles per hour. Okay, well, now the galaxy itself with the solar system, with us, is going around the great attractor, which, what is that? At 2.2 million miles per hour. Okay, so they have us going 2.2 million miles per hour, even though nobody's ever felt a thing, even though there's no proof of this. And the great attractor is 100 quadrillion times the size of the sun, which is already, they say, the sun that you see in your sky, you can fit 1.3 million Earths inside of it. So where's the proof of that? Sorry, you don't get any. This is just what it has to be for our model to work. Okay, great. We think of a gun. How fast does a bullet shoot? Pretty damn fast, right? If you aimed a gun at the sun and shot it, and it maintained the speed of the bullet, it would take 7 years to get to the sun. That is an absolute joke. In fact, if you aimed it at a star, the closest star, and you shot it, it would take 1.9 million years to hit that first star. That is actually bullshit. So when I see you making videos saying the flat earth is bullshit, and then you're just adding things that men have told you with no proof, and then saying that other people have a belief in the flat earth, that's upsetting, because whether or not they do, they might have that belief because we were lied to and told what we had to believe. Like you said, this thing has been ingrained in us from before we were able to think, before you were able to come to your own conclusions, to weigh evidence, to look at things objectively. You had a globe in your face. You had Sesame Street with the yip yap saying, globe, globe, good, globe, earth, good, globe, earth. And these are legit things. This is what they put in front of kids. Cartoons, commercials, logos, everything you can imagine is centered around this idea of you live on a sphere. They fake the moon landings so that they can take pictures of the earth as being a ball, and he's landed on a ball. So when you add all this stuff up, and then you start looking into the flat earth and you see that it has some points that definitely should give it some credence, but sorry, it was completely dismissed. It was taught to you as stupid, as as an ancient desert wandering belief. Then you start to realize, hold on a second, something's up here. This seems like a deception. You don't teach somebody things that are something stupid unless it's really stupid. But when you look at the flat earth, and the people who've done the research will tell you that there's a lot of evidence there that leads you to go, this is equally as good as the ball model. They just had a lot more time to construct it while being told it's stupid. Why are we forced to believe in the globe without any evidence as children? Why wouldn't you teach it as you live on a ball, and here's the reason we know this. Here's the evidence that proves it. Not you live on a ball, science has already figured it out. Okay, that seems weird. Or, you go home and ask your parents, yeah, science has figured it out. Okay, I guess that's right. And then you get to my age and you start looking into it and you realize there's no evidence. There's not even evidence that you spin. There's not even an experiment that you spin. And all of a sudden you start to realize, could this be a deception? So you've got a whole YouTube community that is starting to realize this, that is researching it, and you've got you come out calling it stupid, retarded, a psyop, which, and I'm going to give you your minutes right here. Here you go. You can have it all. But you can tell me why you think it's a psyop and why you think it's so dumb when basically, to me, my observations tell me you have not done any research on it. You just simply have a belief that the earth is round, and therefore anything else outside of that must be stupid. So, go ahead. All you.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm going to try to get back every point you brought up. Before I get into my spiel, I just want to ask you a question. And this is for many of your listeners. You just stated that you're not 100% certain the earth is flat. So if you just had to say if it was just a true or false question on a test, well, how's the right way to word this? I'm just saying, can you admit that it is not a fact that the earth is flat?
Again, I'm asking you what you mean by that. What do you mean by flat? Because some people will take that to mean the circle projection map that people use, the Gleason's map.
The observations, like when in the real world, when you go out, you see a flat horizon on the ocean.
The earth is flat, as in the coast of California is level with the coast of New York. They are level, sea level.
Sea level, yeah. At the coast, they should be level, yeah.
Okay, well, in that 2,500 miles, that's a 721 mile drop on the ball. So where am I going up and down 721 miles between here and New York?
Not counting mountains.
Counting mountains. Mountains are 2 miles high and 3 miles high. Sierra Nevadas are 3 miles high.
But at the coast, it just comes back to the same relative point on Earth. I mean, they're at the same height.
Okay, so between us and Hawaii, that's better because there's just water between us.
Okay, between us and Hawaii is 2,500 miles, so that's 721 miles of curvature. But both those coasts are level. So
I don't understand why they wouldn't be. I mean, if the Earth's a sphere, imagine it as a sphere. Water conforms to any shape it's put in. So that's a falsehood that the flat Earth says. That just saying that water comes to a level. Water conforms to any shape it's put in. I mean, you could get a piece of glass and it could be all sorts of shape, and the water would just fit that shape perfectly.
What do you mean? Hold on. Let's stop right there, though. Make sure what do you mean by that?
So the Earth is a container, then?
So I'm saying, yeah. Imagine the Earth's a sphere, as we're taught, and the water. It all comes to an even height worldwide. All the water surfaces that are connected through the oceans, so where the land meets the water at the point where that balance is, that's what we call sea level.
Okay, but if you put water in a cup or in a bowl, anything, and you tip the bowl or you tip the cup, the water inside there maintains its level. It does not conform to the container. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, imagine like a ball shaped, I guess an ornament, but water.
The water is level. It's level all across the Earth on a spherical. You just have to think about it in a spherical way. It's still all level.
That's different. The water does form to its container, but the water it always finds its level. It's not the Earth, and
the ocean has a bottom. It has a bowl. The ocean has the bottom of the ocean. So yes, the water conforms to that bottom of the ocean, but the top of the water is level. It doesn't conform to a sphere. You're saying it would conform to a sphere, that there would be a convex top of the...
Yeah, there would. Wow. There would be.
Show me, where's the evidence of that?
There's no experiment.
Well, just think about how the ocean is, you guys. I mean, the ocean has those mountain ranges. The ocean has all sorts of depth. There's so much to the ocean, but it doesn't matter how it doesn't matter if the tip of the mountain's right at the surface of the water or it's the lowest point. I mean, the water is going to be at the same level no matter what's just beneath it.
Okay, exactly. So, but you're saying that it bends into a ball,
right?
Where's the evidence of that?
You can't have both of those.
Where is there any kind of experiment lab experiment. Show me an example of water.
Well, that's what we're seeing when a ship goes beyond the horizon.
Okay,
we're seeing it go around. That is the curvature.
Okay, here's the thing, Zach. I've done videos. I've done videos. Hold on. So of other people that will show you that boats never go over the curvature. Well, I pointed out to you by showing that there is a layer of water that you can't see, but I show birds. There's birds that dive into the water, come out of the water, that is invisible to our eyes. There's a hard line level at the horizon, and then after that, there is a layer of a mere surface, a mere plane that our eyes can't see that far. Now, I know that science has taught us that with a telescope, we can see 95 quadrillion miles. I mean, those things are ridiculous. You cannot see far because atmospheric conditions add up, and after a period of time...
Vanishing point. That's the vanishing point, yeah.
You just have, it's the same thing as like a pane of glass in your face, that if you have one pane of glass, you can see through it fine. Add another, fine. Add 100, it's going to start to get a little foggy. Add 1,000, you're not going to see anymore because the glass, even though it's perfectly clear, you've added too many of them to be able to see through. The atmosphere works the same way. I can see a mile out in the water, fine. 2 miles, maybe. 3 miles, all of a sudden, all that air that is between my eye and the distance I'm looking has added up to an amount that I can no longer see through. That's where the water line ends, but there's more water after that. The boat does not go over any curvature, and there's tons of evidence to this, and there's, these are the kind of research things that have been done, and this is where I have a problem, Zach, is that you're saying that you have come to the conclusion because you've been told that boats go over the curvature. We have gone out, we have done the research, we've done filming, we've taped it, experiments, we've showed it. There's people who have shown it numerous times, numerous ways.
In different ways.
And you have no idea of that. Yet you're okay with saying that this is a stupid belief when we're pointing out that we've been lied to about these things. I've heard you talk about Coriolis effect. The tornadoes spin a certain way. I mean, I'm sure. Do you still think that drains go down the different way in the north and south hemisphere?
They do. That's a fact.
See, this is really sad.
That's a fact. I mean,
go to sad because there's no research is being done, like zero.
You can go to Snopes. Go to Snopes.
All right, hold on, you guys. Let me get my 5 minutes in here because I know it's your show, but I mean, look,
your 5 minutes.
Let me explain to you why I'm so opposed to the flat Earth community, because I truly am, and I've kept my mouth shut mostly for 2 years. But I'll tell you why I've recently reached my breaking point, because here's what it's been. I started what I'm doing before the flat Earth movement came along. And when the flat Earth thing first came along, I'm busy doing my work. I was doing something that nobody else was doing. I was trying to show people what's up. And so when the flat Earth came along, a lot of people were passing on flat Earth videos and asking me what I thought about the flat Earth. And I just would say at first, oh, yeah, it's interesting. It's good. People are asking questions. Well, as like maybe a month went on, all of a sudden there started to become people like leaving comments like, Zach's not supporting the flat Earth. And it's just like, well, have I even declared if I'm supporting the flat Earth? People started attacking. The next thing I know, I got channels like Russian Vids making a video that I'm a Satanist who is a shill gatekeeping the flat Earth. And just like, are you kidding me? I'm just here working my ass off on this research. And now all of a sudden I have people making videos about me, attacking me, saying I'm a Satanist, gatekeeping the flat Earth. And it's like, no, I'm just a dude who's trying to get out the word on some knowledge that people don't know about that can really empower your life and help you see through all sorts of things. So anyway, as more and more time went on, it just seemed like there was a growing snowball of people who began to attack me just because I was not supporting the flat Earth. And the first person I took the time to respond to out of all the flat Earth video makers was someone named Stinky Cash, because he was someone. Here's two flat earthers that people probably know their names: Stinky Cash and Daniel Pratt. Both of those men found my work, and they both came on kind of as critics, but I won them over, and they both started helping me, and they started decoding and just passing things along, and I thought, oh, this is good. I mean, I won these guys over. They're helping me out. Then next thing I knew, the flat Earth movement came along, and both of these guys jumped on board with this flat Earth, and then they really wanted me to make flat Earth videos. And I said, you know, guys, honestly, I don't think the Earth's flat. I think it's great people are asking questions, but I don't think the Earth's flat. And then Stinky Cash, he wanted to have this debate, and he made a video, like I made some videos saying that like I wasn't really a truth seeker. I'd be seeing that the Earth is flat, this great awakening. And he made this video at the time that just made me laugh. He was someone that was so rude to me at first, but he came around. But he made this video about how the flat Earth finally made him realize that he couldn't be an atheist anymore, and now he believed in God because the Earth was flat. And I thought all of this was comical because I'd been following this guy just because he had his own little video channel before Flat Earth came along, and he talked about how he was an Israeli citizen and went over there once a year. I thought it was so interesting how all of a sudden this Flat Earth thing came, and then him and Daniel Pratt, all of a sudden they started making videos attacking me. So I was like, well, I mean, what is going on here? Just because I'm not making a video supporting the Flat Earth, I have all these people just attacking me? And so when I finally made a video about the Flat Earth, what the video was about was how the Flat Earth movement, how since it's come along, it's created a group of people who are just coming and asking, are you a flat earther or are you a globe head? And if you don't give them the response they want, then they start attacking you and calling you a shill. And I said this thing, it's like a new religion. It's a new religion. All of a sudden, everyone is claiming the flat earth is a fact, because you have to realize that a lot of the people who follow you are saying the flat earth is a fact. And you, as a leader in the movement, are not even saying it's a fact. So that's why I was trying to get you to answer that question. But
I was just trying to get what you meant by flat. If you're talking about level, flat, yes, it is flat and not a sphere.
In terms of you even said that it's true. There's the water is level or whatever. Really quick, I just wanted to just put one little thing in there. I think what's happening here is there's individuals that are taking things like the flat earth or whatever, taking it to an extreme and attacking you. And I think that those people are doing things the wrong way. We are not attacking you. We are not making videos saying you're a Satanist. So I think here it's like Christianity.
But look,
we don't have a problem
let me
with
finish. I
Christianity.
still got the timer going.
Still got him.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a minute 10 here.
It's all you. Go ahead.
Sorry.
All right. So you guys have to look at what the flat earth community is online, and you have to be honest with yourself. Notice that every video I put out, see, none of my videos are rude against the flat earth. None of my videos are rude. Maybe some people don't like how confident I'm speaking against it, but none of my videos are rude. And if you look at all of the comments that come in, you just get flamed when you go to the flat earth on YouTube. You get flamed. There are just like bot accounts that you've never seen before. It's just like anytime after I expose the false flag shootings, it's the exact same thing. There's all these bot accounts there saying they know the shooters. They know this really happened. It's the same thing. People calling the flat earth a fact. It's the same thing. You're a Jew. You're a shill. The flat earth's a fact. You're a globehead fuck. Oh, excuse me. But this is what it is. I mean, you get flamed every time you upload a video going to flat earth. And then you look, when you get flamed, and I mean hundreds of flames, like within 20 minutes, there's like, watch my flat earth videos. There's like 200 comments in 20 minutes, and they're almost all attacks. And when I finally respond, like, you guys are just retarded, then next thing I know, I have people crying like, oh, Zach's calling us retards now. It's like, how about you guys just watch the video I made, stop reading the comments, what all these trolls are writing, and getting all emotionally worked up over it. Because look, the flat earth community online is disgusting. And I'm not saying you are, but it has just been disgusting for 2 years straight. And that's why I've just tried to ignore it. It is a very immature group. It is a completely belief-based group because none of them can defend their points. And almost what all of them do is they'll link your video or another one of their favorite channel videos, but they can't write out and defend it themselves. All they can do is link YouTube videos. It's not a good following you guys have. I mean, yes, there are intelligent people in the flat earth community. There's intelligent people in there, but the majority of the community they're hostile. They're like the crazy Christian wing of the online truth-seeking community, and I'm sure you know what that is. That really is who your bread and butter is in the flat earth. So I went over my 5 minutes. It's back to you.
Okay, well,
I want to say really quick, I think I totally agree with what you're seeing, because that is happening, but that happens in almost every group that's happening.
Yeah,
we don't agree with those things. We don't agree.
That's not true though. There's nothing else like this in the truth community where it's just a pack of rabid people.
Hold on. Christianity and atheism, you don't think that there's things
You're
online.
right. That's
Yeah.
the next worst group. But the flat
Okay.
Earth has like hyper accelerated that. That's what I dealt with before flat Earth. It's like flat Earth came along, and then that group of people became tenfold, 20-fold.
Here's the thing. I'm unsure if you think you're coming out saying, do you know what it's like when you go against the flat Earth? Do you know what it's like when you come out going against the sphere and saying that the Earth is flat? I mean, it's baffling to me that you don't think I went through far worse than what you for a whole year. How do you think that you can come out? And I was one of the initial, I don't want to go to 10. I was one of the initial 10 channels coming out talking about 2015 February.
Okay, you probably got a lot more flack than you do now, but I also know that if you started then, it's been a lucrative thing to be in for subs, because channels like Stinky Cash went from never having more than 150 subscribers to having like 5,000 subscribers in a week once the flat Earth thing caught on. So I mean, it hasn't been that bad for you on YouTube. Yeah, I know that you guys get attacked. See, and that's something I've never gone into people's flat Earth videos and attacked, never once. But people will always come and attack. I mean, that's my thing. If you're someone who goes to YouTube videos and attacks people you don't like, why not do something better with your time and just watch more of the videos you do enjoy?
I agree.
Dude, you're preaching to the choir, because
100% agree with
I
that.
tell people all the time, you don't have to watch my videos. It's not required. Nobody's forcing you to watch anything I say. And one of the things I have, and this is something you brought up in your video today that I watched, is you keep talking about subs and likes and views. And let me tell you something, Zach, and this is 100% honest. I don't care about any of that, dude. I make videos and I put them out, and I don't care how many likes I get, how many dislikes I get, how many subs I get. I started
That's not the point of it, though, man. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is YouTube works on a system. And when you get more views, more likes, that means your video shows up in more people's feeds. That means more people see your videos. And when you're trying to get the word out, that's crucial. Now, I know for a fact YouTube suppresses the view stats and likes and subs of a lot of channels.
You put out 5 videos a day. You don't think that makes a difference that I put time and effort into my video and put out 1 video a week? You don't think that makes a difference in my view count and my subs?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not taking that away from you. That's a good point. But I'm telling you what I know. People know because people just watch my videos. When I made that Sandy Hook video, they froze it for 48 hours on 666 views. And that video had like 500 views in the first 15 minutes I put it out. And there's been so many in the time I've been here. YouTube majorly filters the stats.
And I think you tell that you have found a crazy truth that is really amazing, that wakes up people amazingly. I mean,
so nobody's taking that away from you either. I'm not taking that away and saying that.
So why doesn't YouTube do that to the flat Earth videos? Because they don't. They let the views, the likes, everything flow in.
Dude, how could you say that when you don't watch? I've heard so many, the more
because I know I'm not trying to lie or be sneaky or make dishonest arguments. I know that's true. I've been here paying attention. I've watched channels blow up just from promoting flat Earth.
Okay, and I've got people that are flat Earth producers that are claiming that their views are being suppressed and that their views have been erased and that they've seen 300 views and then the next day it's down to 100. So I'm hearing the same thing from flat Earthers. I tell them not to complain. My co-host on Globebusters, Morgile, was telling me this last week. Hey, can I bring up the fact that YouTube's reducing my views? And I just told him I wouldn't do that. I say I feel like I'm kind of lucky that I get to speak my mind and that people get to see it. And if they're gonna erase that shit, they're gonna erase shit. I just don't know how we can fight that. That we all know that's going on. Obviously, Google is a huge brand name. They work with the government. If they've been told to reduce the views of certain videos, they're going to do it. Like, there's nothing we can do to stop that. We are all speaking against the system, regardless of what's speaking flat Earth. And that's why I don't agree with the idea of this being a psyop at all, because there's never been a psyop in the history of the world that the government of your country comes out and says, what do we want? Let's have our citizens think that their entire education system has been a sham, that everything scientific that they've ever been taught is a lie. Let's have them think that we stole all their money and put it into a space agency that never went in.
Constantini, Washington. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed down 27 points. The S&P 500 off 6. The Nasdaq 2 points. I'm Ann Cates.
Welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We're here with Zachary K. Hubbard, and I did want to remind the chat group to please be respectful of each other. I heard that they're on a banning mission because people are not being respectful. So please be respectful in the chat room. This, as truth seekers, and I know if you're listening to Truth Frequency Radio, that is why you're here.
Yeah.
And, we need to understand that we may have different. The goal here is simply to pass knowledge back and forth, and no one's going to change their mind. And hopefully going forward, it just gives us more, weapons to, go after the truth.
And we're not supposed to be against each other. The whole idea, everybody has a different perspective, meaning has different beliefs in whatever area it is. But the whole idea or the whole thing that's happening is that we need to refocus and see that the government, the elite, the authorities that are above us, we are in battle with them. We need to put the focus back on them and realize in this together. Every single person who is an individual that's not an authority figure, we need to remember that we are battling against them, not each other. So let's stop being immature in the chat and in the world, I guess.
So give me 2 minutes here to tell you some of the things that I've uncovered in my research that people who have watched my channel know, and see how you might feel differently about things that they're saying. First thing that happened, I noticed that in all these webcam video footage from Antarctica, that there's not one webcam footage that shows the sun doing a 360 degree around the southern continent. Every single webcam video is edited so that they show maybe 12 hours, 13, 14 hours of the day. Then the rest of the day is chopped off and it starts over again. And it doesn't show any footage of what is a globe proof. If the sun goes around the continent of Antarctica above people's heads, just as a 360, that is proof that we live on a sphere. There is none of that. They don't have any. So what I did is I started contacting the NOAA and the Antarctic Division, writing them emails, and I read them on my channel, showed it in my videos, that they flat out told me they can't take videos of that because they don't have the bandwidth to send the video back. And I said, what about your satellite dishes? Oh no, we only get an hour a day that we can communicate over our broadband, and sorry, it's not in our mission statement. So I go to the National Science Association, find their mission statement that says to provide data to educational and the public. Education centers in the public. I go back and tell them it's right here in your mission statement that you have to provide that footage. Sorry, we've got other science that takes precedence. We can't send you or send that video footage out. I said, if you just made one video, it could go into every school in the world and prove we live on a globe. Why you can't provide that? Nope. Sorry. That's the end of the conversation. That's number one. Number two, I pointed out that by going to the Stellarium software or the Sky Planetarium, that you could fast forward the years all the way to 5000 AD or 5000 BC, and the North Star never changes. In their model, this model that we've all been taught, the North Star has to change. It was supposedly a certain star 1,000 years ago. It'll be a different star 1,000 years from now. I made a video about it. A couple weeks later, you go back to that same planetarium software, which I have a video that shows me going there and doing that. They've now capped it, so you can't go past 2500 BC. I'm sorry, you can't go past 2500 AD or before 1500 AD. A difference of 90%. They just chopped off some internet program because I pointed out that it proved that the North Star doesn't move. That's number two. Number three, I made a video about Stephen Hawking being a complete and total joke, that the whole thing is a scam. He's not even listed on the ALS website, even though he's one of the most famous physicists in the world. He wasn't listed in their list of famous people with Lou Gehrig's disease. What happened 2 weeks later? He's on the ALS website under the list of people that have Lou Gehrig's disease. So you have that. I pointed out Sir Ranulph Fiennes, the guy that supposedly did the north-south circumnavigation, that he is a Freemason, Queen Elizabeth's cousin, and that his whole story is bogus. On 4 different sites, it lists it ranging from 35,000 miles, 50,000 miles, 70,000 miles, and 100,000 miles. So I went to Guinness Book of World Records. On that page, started a comment thread, saying all the things that I'd found that showed that he was a fraud. A bunch of people started commenting in there. The thread got big. I went there the other day, gone. The whole thing wiped out. Completely. All everybody was talking about just completely eliminated. Now, so over and over again. Oh yeah, and I was going to read you from the Snopes.com, where it says, claim the Coriolis force influences which direction water spirals down drains and toilets in different hemispheres. Status, false. It says the belief that the Coriolis force influences the direction in water drains from plumbing fixtures is spread, has been repeated in a number of venues, including popular television shows and even in textbooks. It's also been promulgated by any number of hucksters who set up rigged demonstrations along the equator for amusement of gullible tourists who tip them. Fortunately, we've noted that a recently published introductory meteorology textbook includes and addresses this misbelief, basically saying that the what does it say here? No, the origin of this myth comes from applying a scientific principle to a situation where it does not fit. The Coriolis deflection causes cyclonic systems to rotate counterclockwise in the north, clockwise in the south. Inevitable that someone would suggest without checking that a sink should drain in a similar manner. However, a cyclone is more than 1,000 kilometers in diameter and may exist for several days. By contrast, the typical sink is less than a meter in diameter, drains in a matter of seconds. On this scale, the Coriolis force is minuscule. Therefore, the shape of the sink and how the water enters it has much more to do with the direction of the water flow than any Coriolis force.
Yeah.
So here's
The
the things
Coriolis
that,
effect is just simply too weak to affect those small bodies of water.
yeah, it's like a couple million times less than
And
the
that's
force
like-
of gravity pulling it down.
And that's like the going, whatever, the common accepted thing now.
Right, but these
in
are
their
the kind
model.
of these are the kind of added details that get put into somebody's opinion of why they believe what they believe. I don't simply just come out and say, I don't feel like believing the globe. I don't like their idea of the globe. It must be false. So I'm just going to believe the earth is flat. It has been an accumulation of 2 years worth of seeing what's going on in this world. Just like you have spent time learning about gematria, learning how it's affecting every part of our lives, from sports to political to false flags to history to, recently you showed that some baseball players died. That is a connection to the Super Bowl that's happening this year. So I could
Those are
just say
connections
that's
people can't
ridiculous.
make,
You
yeah.
can't make that connection. But I don't say that because I know that you've done the research that has led you to build a case that you feel comfortable saying. And I trust you out to try and fool people. Why would you be fooling people, telling them something as ridiculous as 2 baseball players dying has to do with the Super Bowl? So I feel that that is your area of expertise. If somebody came to me and said, what do you think of gematria, Jaron? You know what? I haven't done enough research on it. Go check out Zach Hubbard's channel. He's doing awesome work, period. I don't have to say that I don't believe it or I do believe it because I haven't done that research. So my hope would be you would come the same way, that you have not done enough research. You just said you spoke with conviction, you spoke with clarity, but you're claiming something like the Coriolis force, you said, is an absolute fact when it's not.
You just showed that it is. The storms do spin in the opposite direction. I mean, that's proof that the Coriolis effect is real.
No, we didn't say the Coriolis
I didn't say
effect
the
is
Coriolis
not
effect
real.
was not real.
We
I
said it
asked
doesn't
you
affect
whether or
the
not drains.
Well, when we were growing up in school,
Exactly.
that was what they taught us all the time about that. And the fact that storms do spin in opposite direction.
Do you see a problem with the fact that in school they had to teach you a fact that proves?
Well, I agree. We learn all sorts of false things in school, but the fact is the Coriolis effect is real. So, I mean, it's kind of a moot point whether it happens in the drain or the storm, because the fact of the matter is it happens.
Zachary, we never said that the Coriolis effect was not real. We said that it does not affect the drains going down in opposite directions in the northern and southern hemisphere. So we know that it's a real effect. We're not saying it's fake or that it's not there.
But
So
again,
just
it
stop
would
saying
come
that.
from the same thing. This is the same thing that Einstein talked about, that Stephen Hawking, everybody has said, that you could look at it from either perspective. Either the Earth is still and things are moving around it, causing the same exact effects as if the Earth was moving in that area where that movement is causing the effects. It's either or. There is no proof of that, or else it would already be proven. If it was as simple as these swirling cyclones prove that the Earth is spinning, then that would have been the proof that they gave us. But that's not what they did. They gave us a bunch of things that don't up anymore. They're running out of thing. And again, these are things that we have seen. And I think I told you when you and I had a conversation a month ago at this point, where I was trying to tell you some of the things with the problems that you had. I was trying to explain it to you. And I told you things that, Edwin Hubbard had said that are clear indications of what has happened here, that science does not allow for anything that isn't materialistic, meaning there cannot be a God because God is dead. God is a thought process. It's not an entity that lives outside of you. That's what science believes. So any kind of talk of God cannot be allowed in science. So when they have observations of the galaxies all floating away from the Earth, they had a choice. Either the Earth is the center, or they had to make up a whole universe idea where every planet sees the same thing, meaning everywhere you are in the entire universe looks like the Earth, meaning galaxies are going away from everyone. Well, they don't. We call that a choice, either the center or this other, but it's not a choice because science doesn't allow the one that leads to a creator. They cannot say the Earth is the center of the universe because the next question becomes why? How? You're saying that there's purpose to the universe? That's not scientific. You can't say that. There is purpose to anything. It's accidental. There is no purpose in natural. There is no purpose in the Big Bang. That's science. So once you realize that, you say, well, wait a second. So everything that they've built is because the structure of science is incorrect. Everything that they've told us about galaxies and,
So, can I interrupt real quick? What you're saying is you're maintaining the standard, the way that we're systematically taught, but that's not the way things really are. See, we're taught this or that for everything in this world. This or that, this or that. Or spirituality. That's done to us in school because you can talk about science there, but you can't talk about any religion at school. So you kind of just learn that way in the system. And that's all done on purpose. That's the divide and conquer tactic. And that's, so look, I just want to make this point. The flat earth, the reason I call it a psyop is because I am 100% convinced it is a psyop. And this is exactly why. You have Barack Obama and John Kerry saying things like, we don't, the earth isn't flat. We don't have time for the flat earth theory. There's been a lot of like little even flat earth references put into radio shows. The most media I get is listening to radio. And there's like even little jokes and commercials with flat. There has been just this spike in flat references. In the same time, this information about the earth being flat is targeted this community in the last 2 years. And it's no coincidence that our leaders are bringing it up. I mean, when was the last time we heard our world leaders bringing up the flat earth? This is all evidence of the psyop because they know exactly what they're doing. They know who's in the online truth-seeking community. It's mostly conservative, right, Christian. And that's why
You're not Christian. So.
You're not, but the majority of people on YouTube, that is the demographic. If you could see it polled, that's what it is, and that is the majority of your fan base as well. If you guys said you're a Christian, you'd probably have even more followers.
And I know that, and that should tell people.
So yeah, good for being honest. That's why I think you're an honest person. But look, a psychological operations is meant to have a psychological impact. And look, we just heard about how they have to chill out the chat room on Truth Frequency Radio. It's because this topic, since the moment it got here, has been completely divisive, and for the most part,
I just explained to you several reasons why you cannot believe in a globe without understanding that you've been lied to, that it doesn't meet.
Well, I disagree with you there. I don't think you're making valid points to dismiss the globe Earth. You're saying that doesn't make sense to you, and how, but look, it's like your inability to understand the mathematics, the geometrics of the spherical Earth. It doesn't mean that the Earth isn't flat. I mean, the way the sun sets, the way the sun rises, the seasons. Look, we have a spherical moon orbiting, and we have a spherical sun orbiting.
Have you seen the back of the moon? Have you seen the back of the sun?
We haven't seen the back of the moon.
So
we know it's spherical because of the way it goes through phases. You can't have phases on a flat two-dimensional object.
What do you mean? How would you not? How do you know that?
Do it as an experiment. Put up a white ball in a dark room and shine a light on it, and then do that with a white piece of paper and show how you make it go through phases. You can.
Well, some people don't think that the moon is reflecting the sunlight, so
yeah, there's a lot of different options there. But here's where I'm confused with what you're saying there.
Journalism, you have to realize that, though, brother. You cannot go through moon phases unless it's a sphere.
We just said.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I don't want to speak I don't want to say you can't, because anything is possible in this world. I love the introduction of your show, that it's the Truman Show.
Right.
Look, if we live in a flat Earth, and you're right, I think it really is. It really must be a lot like the Truman Show. For anybody who's never seen that movie came out on June 5th, the 156th day of the year. The name Truman Burbank in gematria sums to 156. If you write out the word 33, it sums to 156. That movie named Truman Show, it was Truman that was the 33rd president who created the CIA, the NSA, all the things that spy on us. That movie's about surveillance over a man's life, about people living up in the moon, controlling over
33?
Say it again.
Big Bang is 33?
Big Bang's 33, so is Genesis.
Belief is 33?
But Believe is 30.
Believe is 33?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I mean, there's a lot of things that...
Masonry's 33, secrecy.
Right. So, and I understand what you're saying about, I'm applying the wrong, I don't understand the mathematics of the globe. How do I not understand?
Oh, I didn't get to make my point, though. Look, so if we are living in the Truman Show, if this is the Truman Show, if you haven't seen that movie, he lives in a giant dome, but he doesn't realize it's a huge dome. He thinks it's the spherical world, just like we think we live in. And you find out in that movie, the people who are running this dome, they control the sun, the moon, they can control the weather. They have complete control over this man's life, but he doesn't realize he's in a simulation environment. If we live in a flat earth that's a dome like this, you know what I would think the reason for that is? That we truly do live in some sort of simulation, a greater intelligence over us. They have recreated essentially, or they've created an artificial environment that would mirror maybe other natural environments that exist somewhere in this greater world that we don't know about. See, look, I don't like how the flat earth community likes to say that the earth being flat proves the existence of God. To me, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, why couldn't God create a spherical earth? Why couldn't God create a
that's not what they mean. That's not what they mean. Do you think there were atheists in 1400? Do you think that there was such thing?
Yeah.
Really?
Sure, I'm sure there's always been atheists.
People that thought accidentally with no idea of evolution and no idea of the universe and other planets and that stars are suns. You think people believed that this was accidental, that they existed here? Or do you understand that only with scientific teachings of evolution, of 4.54 billion years, of endless galaxies, and 100 quadrillion suns?
You realize that we have no idea about history, man? We have no idea what the truth of history is.
Okay, I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan.
So why even have these kind of conversations? Why even claim that people 600 years ago, like that flat earthers do that? They start that and they say, until 600 years ago, everyone thought the earth was flat. It's like, how do you know? Based on things that exist, there's evidence that the ancients thought the earth was spherical.
What do you think?
It's just,
what do you think the oldest physical globe? How old do you think it is?
That's what I mean. Who cares? I mean, maybe the oldest physical globe was destroyed, you know?
Maybe, but I mean, you would also think that if it was thousands of years old, that people believed in a sphere, somebody would have modeled the earth and it would have lasted. Did they crush all the globes to then teach us about the globe? Doesn't make any sense. If you put two and two together, you'll realize that they have lied to us. You're absolutely right, but the opposite way. You're the one believing the lie. You believe that the sphere Earth has been believed for a long time. You've gone that route. When you look at it, though, you realize the oldest globe is 1492. Just so happens to match the Christopher Columbus coming across the Atlantic, discovering a land that's already been discovered.
Look, I honestly, out of all the things you've said tonight, I don't know why you feel so confident that the Earth isn't a sphere. Because honestly, the most evidence you put forth is things like the fact that they won't give you the video footage from Antarctica. I mean, who caars? Is that the greatest evidence that the Earth isn't a sphere?
Listen, let me give you some evidence, and you tell me why this is not evidence of the Earth being flat.
Do you know about the way the North Star works for sailors with latitude?
Absolutely. If you're at the 40.
It only works, or I mean, impossible if Earth is flat. It only works on a spherical Earth.
What do you mean every sailor says that? There's tons of people who are in the Navy and are master gunners that believe in the flat Earth. So not every person says that, but
well, dude, a lot of people are in the Navy, man. I know a guy that I help out that's drunk all the time and that was in the Navy. I mean, who cares?
My point. You just brought up that every person says that, and it's not true.
Sailors, the people who sail the sea and know the oceans and know what to do if their compass breaks down, etc., that know how to use the stars. These people still exist. There's a lot of people that in this community that have uploaded YouTube videos trying to say, look, quit all this flat Earth nonsense. The North Star proves the Earth is a sphere. See, a lot of flat earthers seem to have no knowledge about the North Star. They don't understand that it's way, way further away than all the other stars. That's why it appears to never move in the sky, because it's so distant. That's what we're told.
You're so off. I hope you know how bad you're completely wrong about that. What do you mean?
How am I completely wrong about that?
Because
that's mathematics.
What do you mean it's mathematics? So the other stars that do circles in the skies has something to do with their distance from the Earth?
Absolutely.
Oh boy.
Well,
Dude,
I don't understand why that's funny. The North Star's supposed to be way further away than all those other stars.
This star is between 400 and 500 light years away. That it's not far at all compared to every other star. The stars are all such equal distances away from the Earth. They are all so incredibly far that they all act identical. That's why we see star circles, because even though one might be 100 light years and the other one might be 4,000 light years, even though that's a couple 100 trillion miles difference, they do the exact same thing. The reason the North Star stays where it is because it's directly aligned with the axis of the Earth. That's the reason why it stays where it is. Has nothing to do with its distance. It's not even
according to the model, anyways.
Yeah, according to the model. And this is why I hate explaining the globe.
Look, so I just have to say something. The average star, in terms of science, this is scientific understanding. The average star is 4.3 light years from the Earth. This is the scientific knowledge. I'm just saying this is what's out there, and everyone.
Star.
The average star is 4.3 light years away. The North Star is said to be 438 light years away. That's over 100 times further away. So, Jernis, and this is what I mean with the flat Earth community, because all night you've been saying I'm very well researched in a way, because I studied this stuff in school. I was always top of my class, Jernis. I'm not just any.
I'm trying to
look.
Wrong.
The North Star is 100 times further away than the average star. So you can't just say it's just like all the other ones, because it's not true.
What you're saying is completely false, Zach. The closest star to us is 4 light years away. The closest star. Okay, so when you say the average star is a couple thousand light years, could be 1 million light years. What stars are you considering when you're taking an average? You're talking about all the stars? That doesn't make any sense. Some stars are billions of light years
further away.
Yes.
Yeah, some stars are billions of light years away. What do you mean?
The North Star is special. It's a lot more distant than the majority of stars in the sky. Anyone can look this up. Look, if you're in the flat Earth and you're into this debate right now, look it up after Jernis and I are done talking.
The furthest star is known, according to the model, is 33 billion light years away. So that's
right. So take an average. The average isn't going to come out to 4.
The North Star you said is how many, babe? How many million?
It's between 400 and 500.
But millions. So
no. The North Star is 400 or 500 light years away.
Okay, so that's
not an average. It's a very.
The North Star is also I forget what they call it in space. It's in a special spot too, supposedly right above the North Pole. But the fact that it is so distant is the reason it appears to never move in the sky. And the point is I hear a lot of flat Earth channels saying that the North Star never moves, and that is proof that we're stationary. But if you look at the mathematics of how far away it is, it's explained why it is what it is. And there's a reason sailors have used it for 1,000 years and probably longer than that to sail the oceans.
You're basically wrecking your channel right now, because this is going to be repeated over and over again. You're going to get shown that you had no clue what you're talking about. So I'm just telling you, I would stop talking about that. Look up the things you're saying first.
Don't look up things that support what you were taught in school, because that's what.
Well, even he's not talking about anything that's close to being correct. The North Star being at the center and moving has absolutely zero to do with its distance from Earth. Nothing.
It's because we're tilted and spinning. That's
it's
what
because we're tilted and the axis of the Earth is pointed at the North Star. It wouldn't matter if it was the closest star or the furthest star. It would still be at that spot and not move. It has nothing to do with its distance. And it's actually on a lower end. It's actually on the.
It has everything to do with its distance, because that's how perspective works. It's like if you're standing in front of a tree and you take a step to the right, it looks like the tree. Now you're not looking at the tree anymore. But if you're a great distance away and you take a step to the right, the tree's still right in front of you.
Yeah, parallax. But there is no parallax in the stars. It's not noticeable by the human eye. It's detectable by equipment, but it's not. The human eye can't decipher that. It has nothing to do with what you're talking about. I mean, if there's somebody, let me bring up a list of stars, because the stars they range. The closest one being, like we said, 4 trillion miles away. And I'm 75 trillion miles away, which is 4 light years. And then they just go up from that and pull in probably,
You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We're here with Zachary K. Hubbard talking about the flat Earth. and we left talking about the stars. And one thing, I was just looking up Polaris to get the exact distance, which they have at 433 light years. But it also says here, while calculations by other methods derive distances around 30% closer. That's in the very first sentence of Wikipedia. So this is a science that we all need to bank on, is that they know the distance to a star. And when you're talking about light years, remember a light year is about 6 trillion miles. So 433 times 6 trillion. Go outside right now, look at the stars, and then tell yourself that the closest one to you is 25 trillion miles away. Meaning if you shot a gun at it and that bullet maintained its speed, it would take 1.9 million years to get to the closest star. It's a joke. It's not true. There's no other way to explain it other than it's simply not true. But down here, it does say exactly why it is the polar star and how it helps in navigation. And it says, because it lies nearly in a direct line with the axis of the Earth's rotation above the North Pole, the North Celestial Pole, Polaris stands almost motionless in the sky, and all the stars on the northern sky appear to rotate around it. Therefore, it makes an excellent fixed point from which to draw measurements for celestial navigation or astronomy. Or astrometry. The moving of Polaris towards and in the future away from the celestial pole is due to the precession of the equinoxes. And this was, I was just saying, that we've all but disproven. They tell us that it moves, and in the year, what does this say? In the 41st century, it'll be the new star Gamma Cephei. But I was showing in that little software that if you move the years ahead, the star never moves. And they changed the program so you can no longer look that far ahead, because if it moves in the year 4000, then in the year 3000, it would have to be halfway between where it's supposed to be and then. But they can't do that, because as soon as they move the stars even a little bit, it throws off the whole program. You can just look at old things. It has been known that the polar star does not move for thousands of years. That's in books. You can go back to this is Shakespeare and before that, but talking about it is as unmoving as the polar star that never moves, is always there. But now they tell us, oh no, that it actually moves, but we have no proof of that. We're just going to say it does. So you left last time and you said that I'm not giving you any proof. So I want to spend some time telling you about the fact that there is no curvature on the Earth. Okay, so if there's no measurable curvature, then explain to me how that, you're saying I come with no proof, we come with no facts. I'm coming with proof that there is no curvature, and if you know where it is, please tell me where we measure it, and then explain why that's not proof enough to determine whether or not the Earth is a ball or not. The other thing being, again, if I stand out and look straight out at the horizon, and I'm looking east from California, you can pretend you're doing the same thing from Seattle. Look east at your eye line. New York is 721 miles below your eye line. Okay, that's where it is. But it's level. Okay, that is a joke. It's an absolute lie that has been told to children when they are in 2nd and 3rd grade, that the Earth's a ball and that we're all pulled equally to the center of said ball, and that water somehow is held to this ball, even though there's no evidence of that. Can you show me an experiment that shows water being held to a sphere and spinning and not flying off? Take a tennis ball, soak it in water, and spin it. Tells me what happens. Does the water stick to the ball or does the water fly off? So when we talk about the water finding its level, you put in any cup a bunch of water, put it in a bowl, put it in a dish, put it in a tray, put it in your swimming pool. The top of the water is level. It does not curve in a ball formation. There's no evidence of that anywhere. You actually have to believe that on the sphere Earth, that the oceans curve like a ball, and that people on the other side of the world live opposite you. There's somebody right now on the other side of the Earth standing upside down from you, being held to the Earth's center through gravity.
Well, it's all perspective. So I mean, you wouldn't know that you're upside down. Your feet are down.
Correct. Okay, so what I'm saying is that's a metaphysical thing. We have no proof of that. You've been told that, Zach, right? I mean, at least admit this much. The only way that we know that people on the other side of the Earth are technically, yes, to them, they're right side up. To me, I'm right side up. But if I'm right side up and I know where they are, to me, they're upside down, correct? That's
right.
Okay.
So look, I want to listen. You know, when you really start to think about it, when you just listen to your words, it's like, yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of interesting. I mean, how do you make water stick to a spherical object? But look, the Earth is a massive object. It's the Earth is a miracle. Everything about this world is a miracle. You start looking at us, just the way we operate, and how our bodies renew, and just everything about us is a miracle.
Absolutely.
It's like asking. It's like saying, it's essentially like saying, recreate a human being. I've never seen anybody else create another human being, so maybe human beings aren't real. It's almost like saying that in a way. Because this is what the flat Earth's doing. They're saying that only God, the flat Earth proves God's, a lot of flat earthers are saying this, the flat Earth proves God, but it's like, when you really start to think about the spherical Earth, to me, the spherical model doesn't seem so ridiculous. To me, it's like, it's a miracle. Like so many things in this world, God creates miracles.
Yeah, but they mean to an atheist, the flat Earth proves that there's a God. Meaning, if it was ever proven that the Earth is a flat plane that is motionless and things move around us, the galaxies are all receding away from this.
I don't see how it's any different, honestly. I don't see how it's any different.
Well, then that's the deception.
Yeah, the whole idea of the spherical Earth is because everything's a sphere and gravity pulls everything to a sphere, and that's why all these spheres are flying about the galaxies and the endless universe.
Isn't that a natural object? A sphere is a natural object.
The globe.
Water turns everything into a sphere with a dime. Rocks, stones.
The globe being a product of the Big Bang, an insignificant, it makes us insignificant. They want to make the human race feel insignificant and inferior, and then we are easily controlled.
So when you ask what the reason is, why is this important? It's because people right now feel like they can be dicks. They feel like they can, excuse my language, they feel like they can be jerks, that it doesn't matter what they do in their life because when we die, the same thing happens to everyone. We all turn into worm food. That's the atheistic, materialistic viewpoint of that science has created in this world. They have created this idea that we're all accidental.
Don't blame it on science, man. It's just divide and conquer. There's religious people that hate each other, and it doesn't even have anything to do with science. My mother grew up in the middle of North Dakota in a town with 100 people and allowed to play with the Lutheran kids. People just divide over everything in our society.
Right, and I don't mean I don't want to say science. That's a bad thing to call it. I'll call it scientism, or the Richard Dawkins of the world. These people that are going around and promoting.
I agree. I don't like that guy. Yeah, right. He's preaching the superiority of atheism. I know. Right,
and materialistic. Right, that everything is material. That there is no, nobody can be claimed. There's no such thing as telepathy. This is but it's not a matter of there's no such thing because there's no evidence of it. It's that you're not even allowed to submit a paper that has anything to do with that. You're submitting it to a group of the peer review team that has built their entire lives on this scientific idea that they're not going to allow somebody just to come in and say, hey, I found out this. They'll just throw the paper away. They don't care. That's not in their best interest. And that's why I have a problem with that part of science. Call it scientism. The idea that they've passed on us all that peer review is such a beautiful idea. How is it a beautiful idea if you've got a group of men who have built their entire lives upon a certain premise, and if I all of a sudden discover that boats don't go over the curvature, can I submit a paper to the scientific journal that's going to go through? It's being reviewed by 400 guys who will laugh in my face. Not because what I'm saying is incorrect, because what I'm saying is not what they their entire lives upon. So that's not a good. It's the worst thing. It's the same as the Catholic Church looking at things through their college of cardinals.
I agree, man. The whole world's indoctrinated. It's like Western medicine isn't real medicine. It's all propaganda. It's all symptom maintenance. And
where's the money involved there, right? The money comes from people being sick, right? The money comes from people being thinking that they need Paxil and all. That's so. Why would they ever cure cancer? Why would they ever cure AIDS when the money comes? We're on the same page there. You have to go the one step further, not you have to go. I'm asking you to look into going one step further and realizing that the ultimate deception is the very place where you live. Now, I understand when you're saying, like, what difference does it make? You're right. We could say that the earth is flat tomorrow and everyone keeps being a dick and everyone keeps acting the way they are and we keep being oppressed and we keep being put down and held down, we're enslaved by these powers that shouldn't be. But I like to think the fact that what you're putting out there with gematria is waking up a certain level of people. Some people, for me, like I said, I was watching your stuff, and when you started talking sports, my wife and I are like, big time skeptics. No, this isn't right. Sports aren't scripted. I've watched baseball my entire life. And it took you waking me up to the fact that sports are rigged. Okay. It took you and me looking at your information you were putting out to realize that that is the truth. So I've accepted that now. It's a tough pill to swallow. I spend a lot of my money in my entire life on season tickets, on World Series tickets. My wife and I went to World Series. I mean, there's so many things that you realize as time goes on. There's a certain group of people in this world that are going to be impossible to wake up because they're just slaves to the system.
They're comfortable in
they're
it.
comfortable in it. Well, the flat earth is that one thing that makes Mr. Joe Blow with his beer sitting on his recliner sit up in his chair and say, what the F did I just hear? What did they just say? Somebody said the earth is flat? These idiots. And then he's going to go and look into it. And if it was that we were just telling lies or that we were challenging science and then science was just going to prove us wrong, then really there's really no wrong being done there because you're challenging the current scientific fact.
Which is what scientific
which
method
is what
is.
science is. And then the truth is standing up to scrutiny, standing proud and saying, no, I'm the truth. I've been here all along and you guys are trying to challenge me and I win again. Then we would go back to our little holes and say, sorry, we were idiots. But instead, if we are actually discovering that that current held fact, that person on or that belief on the top of the pedestal is wrong, then we are seriously saving humanity from further years into the dark ages. We wonder why there's no space travel. Why were we all told there'd be flying cars? Why were we told to be like the Jetsons? Well, it's known something in the way that things go. You always grow in technology, you grow in ideas, you grow. But with space travel, nothing has happened. It's a complete standstill. The reason why is because it's a lie. They're faking all the space walks. They're faking space travel, and they want.
So I agree. I said this at the beginning. I suspect it's a lie too. But look, we don't know for sure. It could be that they're just not telling us what they're really up to.
Okay, so this is the kind of thing that we are investigating. That the flat Earth, and here's why I understand where you're coming from, because you're right. The flat Earth people have been really aggressive. The reason why is because...
Dude, they could have the real space stations up in Antarctica. That could be the real reason that the whole area is... I mean, we have no idea what's going on is the truth. We're the people in the dark.
Okay, so if people like me that are in the flat Earth are researching this stuff, and you are not, where do you feel it's okay for you to come out with videos calling us idiots? I hear your question. Let me answer it, because everyone knows what you're about to say. Okay. So look, I explained in the beginning. I haven't said much for 2 years, and I don't think any of the videos that I put out recently are bad at all. I think I expressed my point. There's no reason for anybody to thumbs down that video. But look, this is the thing. 2 years, the flat Earth community online has been a trollish community, a hate-based community. I mean, all the things that you just described about atheists. There's a lot of people in the world who are atheists who aren't bad people at all. They're just atheists.
Have we done that?
Answer that first. Have I been that kind of person?
It's not about you, though, man. It doesn't do when I make these videos.
Whose name did you use? Whose name did you use?
You're the best part of the flat Earth community.
Okay, but whose name did you use in the video today? And this, you said, Jeranism has been taken by a psyop and has been confused and into thinking this is the truth, and he's wrong because the Earth is a sphere. That's what you said in your video. And I
think that's right, man. I think that's right too. I do agree with what I said.
Okay, this is not a psyop. A psyop, let me tell you what a psyop is, just so you know. The psyop is defined as the planned and offensive use of propaganda, persuasion, counter-subversion, rumor, confusion, subversion, provocation, motivation, and other forms of such actions aimed at supporting current policy and and influence.
Exactly. That's why flat Earth is a psyop, because you understand that the online truth community is the most dangerous thing to the federal government right now. That's exactly why you have Obama and John Kerry bringing up the flat Earth, because they know exactly what it's doing. You don't think that the government's monitoring the internet and seeing what's gone on in the last year since the flat Earth community arrived?
Confused. I want to know what you're saying. Are you saying that the government wants people to believe that the Earth is flat? Or what exactly?
Tear apart the online truth community because it is the most dangerous thing to the federal government's tyranny. This is the only opposition threat to their lies and what they are doing in the world. Yeah. Look, you guys have to recognize what I am doing is on the radar of the powers that shouldn't be. Did you guys see what the news story was on my birthday? Did you see what the national news story was on my 33rd birthday?
No, wait.
The national news story was no doubt a tribute to me. It was a shooting that day. And here is exactly why I know it was a tribute to me. I am living with a death threat. I have been harassed. I know that these people got my house and have been, I've been gang stalked. You know, how many people have their house ran into on Christmas Eve? Listen, the story on my 33rd birthday was the story of a man who worked in a group home for autistic children being shot by police in the middle of the street helping a child. What I was doing when I began this research was working.
You were working with disabled kids, but hold on a second.
I was managing a group home for autistic children, the exact same thing, and that's pretty much what my daily life was.
Hey, time out. Don't interrupt me for 1 second. That has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. You're describing your work, and that you.
Because I'm explaining to you what's going on in the world right now, man.
You
need to listen to what I'm saying. This is crucial. Everything that they coded about the man's name who was shot, saying his name was the exact same as mine in gematria. Perfect.
Okay.
And look, this is what I'm exposing every single day for 2 years before this happens. How the media is contriving these stories by the numbers.
No one's taking that away from you. No one's saying
look,
not.
I'm not.
So look, man, there are those of us online who are really. I mean, USA Today a year ago, January 27, 2016, wrote an article about how I had exposed their Super Bowl to the T. These things are dangerous to the powers that be. If this information, imagine if this is where the majority of the emotional energy is invested in the manpower of this nation, professional sports. Imagine if the men of this nation wake up to the fact that they've been duped all this time with pro sports. My goal is to wake up those people because I know that if we can get their energy diverted to taking the world back instead of sitting on the couch watching the rigged game, things can be done. And I guarantee you the powers that shouldn't be know that too. That's why they have all these distractions for us, like sports.
I'm out right there, and let me just say this. I'm doing the same thing to the people who have always believed that they lived on a ball by waking them up with something that makes them lift their head up like what was just said. I was lied to from the time I was second grade about where
who have woken up?
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I'm sure. Look at like I said,
maybe 59,
60,000 subscribers.
These people.
Oh yeah, they're nobody. They're
Who are
fake.
the people that you've woken up?
YouTube people.
Well, this is a radio show. I have very intelligent callers.
Hey,
We have very intelligent people call into our show too. So
Well, they don't show themselves very well online for representing the flat Earth community because everyone in the community does the same thing. They attack, they call names, and they cannot defend any of their points. So look, Jared, let's just get to the chase of it. Look, you're going to prove to the world Earth is flat. What are your 5 strongest points to convince somebody that is indoctrinated, as you would say, and is duped into believing that the Earth is a sphere? So you're going to convince the masses that the Earth is flat. How are you going to do it?
What kind of person am I talking to? An open-minded person?
The average American.
Somebody like you that I've
you
already
made a video.
explained
You made
numerous
a video
times.
with the top 5 things that they.
Yeah, the Earth is not spin. It has never been proven to spin. That's number 1. So
Number 2, there's no curvature. You cannot measure the curve. There's no measuring of it. It's impossible because
water
it's not
finds
there.
its level. Water lays flat. There's no way that New York Harbor is 721 miles below my eye line, but it's still level with the West Coast.
Right. Pictures of the
Excuse
Earth.
me, how does that make sense?
Pictures of the Earth. Has ever been to the moon to take pictures of the Earth? That's number.
What journalism keeps saying about the height on the opposite coast does not make sense. It's sea level.
Yes, sea level.
Sea level.
Full is the zero measuring point for how we measure land water comes up to worldwide.
Okay, so if water on the West Coast at California's beach is sea level, and in New York it's sea level, that you just said that, right? There's 721 miles of curvature between those two locations.
According to the globe map.
Right.
Globe map tells me that if I look out towards the east, New York Harbor is 721 miles below my eye line. When do I go over 721 miles? How do I get up or down that hump? And who is above whose horizon? Am I above New York or is New York above me? Which one is it? Well, it's both. It's metaphysical. It's not reality. You can't live on a ball, dude. It's not reality. There's no such thing as living on a sphere. You believe you can live on a sphere, but you just accept. You believe you live on a sphere. I know I do not. That's the difference. There is no sphere living.
Well, you said earlier you didn't know that. You said you didn't know. You said you were pretty sure.
I asked you, what do you mean by saying the Earth is flat? Because I was afraid that you were going to say, oh, well, the map doesn't work. And I can't draw a map by myself. Nobody drew the globe map on their own. It took thousands of people over hundreds of years to come up with the map we have now. So if you want to know when we're going to have a flat Earth map, well, when there's thousands of flat Earthers that are able to communicate on a worldwide scale to map the Earth, then we'll know. Right now, we're not there because some people are making videos saying that the flat Earth is bullshit. So that kind of hurts the whole idea of the truth movement when people that, like I said, I respect your work. So it hurts me when I things like that, because I'm like, well, let me go see what he done. Oh, he went and pulled up Cool Hard Logic's video, who just sits
Sorry about that.
there and calls us flat tards the whole time. That's what
No, that's not all.
Oh boy. I have no idea if anyone can even see me or not. This was off for a while. Oh my goodness. I'll share again just because it took forever to get back online.
One person that listens to me would ever make the stupid mistakes you've made for the last 8 years. You should be listening to me instead of playing with numbers.
Stop saying the earth is flat, because you can't ever figure out on your flat earth model how that's even possible. You guys have to be like, well, maybe it's like the Truman Show and some... I mean, you really think that somebody built a big man-made dome over us? We are being controlled by wicked men, but they didn't build a big dome over us. Again, coming up with these crazy explanations for why you can't see the, the same set of stars in the northern and southern hemisphere. Things that don't make sense on a flat Earth map.
Yeah, you're right. It's too far is crazy.
Well-researched tribe troll Zachary Hubbard, top of his class, knows Earth is a globe. Schools me. Yeah, get the rest of the 3 hours in the debate, and people will see that that was definitely a schooling. Not right there. Yeah, that was definitely my low light and my mistake. But again, for the guy who got rid of the full video and only kept up that clip, so I think we know what that says about the 3-hour discussion.
Yeah, you know exactly what it says. It says that TFR is no longer in business.
Oh my God.
This is the kind of science that we all need to bank on, is that they know the distance to a star. Truth is standing up to scrutiny, standing proud and saying, no, I'm the truth. I've been here all along and you guys are trying to challenge me and I win again. Then we would go back to our little holes and say, sorry, we were idiots. But instead, if we are actually discovering that current held fact, that person on, or that,
Okay. Anyway. So many interactions, and so I will attempt to finish the stream at some other point, but I'm going to leave it at that, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.